Welcome back to the Cannapreneur Partners news break. We have a really fascinating study. We've been saying constantly on these little news breaks that we do that the research out there is starting to roll in from the cannabis space and what's going on right now. And this is Journal of Women's Health did a study or published a study, and it's one of the more fascinating ones regarding gender and cannabis that I've read. And what they did was they studied medical cannabis users in Illinois, and they had a couple startling revelations in here. First of all, they reported that men receive a higher level of support from their primary care physician when it comes to prescribing and using medical cannabis than women do, which is fascinating. But they found that women have had a higher level of success with medical cannabis to treat certain conditions and are far more likely to discontinue over-the-counter prescription medication once they're able to treat their underlying conditions with cannabis. And I'm going to go through some numbers here. So it was a really amazing study for me. So if we go through the basic study, let me make sure I get to the right page here. I apologize, but so the underlying conditions, they were myalgia, PTSD, arthritis, spinal cord injuries, cancer, MS, Crohn's disease, traumatic brain injury, lupus, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They went through all these conditions and many more, and what they found out was across the board, women treat certain conditions more than men do with medical cannabis, and the conditions were pain. And this is going to be an underlying theme. Anyone who's followed Cannapreneur for the last 6 or 8 months or a year and listened to what we've said and the studies we presented, you're going to notice yet another reoccurring trend in what people use cannabis for. Pain, anxiety, inflammation, insomnia, depression, and nausea. Those are the main symptoms treated with medical cannabis in both men and women in the Illinois. In every single one of those conditions, women were more likely to be treating those conditions than men with medical cannabis. It was stunning. And here's the bigger part. And the difference is we're looking at, 82% of the women treated pain versus 75% of men. Anxiety, 71% versus 65%. So the numbers, it's not it's a significant difference. Now, of all the people they studied, 31% of women had never used cannabis before qualifying for that medical condition and getting their prescription, and only 23% of men, okay? Post the medical condition, post getting the prescription card to get medical cannabis in Illinois, 67% of women increased their cannabis use. Only 58% of men did. 65% of women decreased prescription medication use after using medical cannabis for that same condition versus 59% of men. Here's a stunning one. Those who eventually discontinued the prescription medicine use, 80%. 79.9% of women who use cannabis for these underlying conditions stopped using their prescription medicine because of the success they got with medical cannabis versus only 70% of men. These are amazing studies. And the average age was 42 years old. So we're not talking seniors, we're not talking teens, we're talking the 30 to 50 range, that midlife range. 80% of women who went on medical cannabis for an underlying prescription stopped using that prescription. That's an amazing stat. And we continue to say and have said all along that we've just been getting to scratch the surface of what this plant can do for people. And the more studies like this come out, it's going to be eye-opening for people. And we applaud the Journal of Women's Health for getting into this and publishing these studies and getting this information out there. I mean, the obvious takeaway is cannabis can be extremely beneficial for women, and these are based on results of what we're seeing out there. It seems like it interacts maybe more intensely with women than men. We don't know, drawing some conclusions from the data. But when you see numbers where every single category after category, women are being helped disproportionately than men for cannabis, it's something we need to look into and something that the medical community needs to stand up and take a look at, because when men report receiving support from their primary care doctors about starting medical cannabis, and women report far less support from the medical care community when it comes to starting cannabis, yet are far more helped by it. I think doctors need to start opening their eyes to this plant and what it can do, and start taking an honest look at what's being produced as far as these research studies, what's being produced as far as the data, and really start doing what's best for their patients. And that isn't prescribing medicine in most cases. So I hope this was useful to you. Again, Journal of Women's Health, published online October 22nd. Check out the study. It's a fantastic study, and hope you all have a great day. Bye now.